All right, what is going on, Laker fans? Appreciate you guys tuning in. This will be a audio only YouTube video here, so just doing kind of a little bit more of a podcast form. Not in a position tonight to do some video. Don't have what I typically have, so just going to make this more of a little bit of a podcast. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. The Lake Show have lost 5 of their last 6 games. They lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. 118 to 111, the final score. I will say this, much more respectable game than I think we've watched from the Lakers over these last couple of weeks. These are the types of L's that don't bother me nearly as much as some of those other losses that the Lakers have had. So this one a lot easier to swallow. Certainly got a few things that I want to get into. LeBron isn't playing this game. Gabe Vincent doesn't play in this game, and Gabe Vincent still trying to work his way back. Braun, just the mere fact that it's a back-to-back, and he's about to turn 39. Completely understand why he doesn't go. Was a little surprised that Anthony Davis, to be honest with you, played in this game, just simply for the fact that he had that turned his ankle. I think he's turned his ankle now twice in the last week or so. Same ankle. He was hobbling around all over the place yesterday after the game against, or at the end of the game against the Chicago Bulls. So I actually thought this would be a game that the Lakers would say, you know what, let's just, this is a scheduled loss already for the Lakers. You're playing a good Minnesota team. They were 11-1 at home coming into this game. Let's not take a risk. Let's not take a chance on Anthony Davis. Let's just call it a night. But he ends up playing 31 points for Anthony Davis, another 8 rebounds, 11 of 20 from the field, played 38 minutes yesterday, played 39 minutes tonight, was 8 of 9 from the free throw line. For all those who like to bitch and complain about Anthony Davis, not this season. I mean, let's all kind of be honest with each other. Let's take a quick second on that. Anthony Davis has been fantastic for probably about 95% of this year. He's been available through the first, how many games have the Lakers played? 29. He's missed 2 games so far. I feel like he's battled through injuries to make himself available. I think he's been more times than not fantastic on offense. I think he's one of the best defensive players in the NBA. So I appreciate Anthony Davis gutting it out on a night in, night out basis for the Lakers. And tonight was no different. Again, I thought he could have easily decided, well, Bron's not going to play. We're playing Minnesota. Lakers aren't going to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. No, I'm good. Let's just call it a day. He didn't do that. And he did roll up his sleeves, and he did go to work, and another 31 points and 8 rebounds for him. Start off the show, I mentioned that it was a much more reasonable loss. This was a loss where you can stomach a lot more. Let me tell you what I mean about that. I'm not trying to make a case that I'm okay with the Lakers losing. I think everybody who listens to me knows that losing 4 games in a row and 5 of 6 after the in-season tournament is not good basketball. If you go look at the NBA standings here real quick, and I'm going to do that while we're chatting, the Lakers have certainly dropped. I think at the highest point they got to, they might have been tied for 3rd. I think 4th is where they were. And now you look at the standings, Lakers are 10th. They're sitting at 15 and 14. Phoenix now in front of them. Houston, New Orleans. Granted, you got all these teams virtually tied in the standings, but the Lakers have 14 losses. So in the loss column, that's why the Lakers are behind. And Golden State, by the way, now just 1 game behind the Lakers since they've won 3 games in a row. So the Lakers could find themselves by the time that Oklahoma City Thunder game is all said and done, or OKC and Boston, they could find themselves on the outside looking in, not even in that playing tournament. I know we got a long way to go, but the reason why I said this is a game that is easier to swallow, here's what I mean by that. Lakers were prepared tonight, right? They came to work, and I get it. I understand it's still an L, but 4-point game at the end of the first quarter, not a 10 or 11-point game. A 4-point game at halftime, a 4-point game going into the fourth quarter. And yes, for the most part, the Minnesota Timberwolves controlled the game. For the most part, the Minnesota Timberwolves always had what did it seem to be? Anywhere from 4 to 8 points. I felt like they were up for most of this game. Their largest lead was 13. Lakers early on had a 7 point lead. That didn't last very long, but the Lakers hung. They fought the entire game. I thought I thought there were plenty of times where they were down 5 and then it could have went to 11 and then it could have went to 14 and then it could have went to 18. It could have got out of hand. And every time the Lakers, somebody would make a play. Maybe it was Rui making a play. Maybe it was Cam Reddish making a play. Maybe it was Austin Reaves or D'Angelo Russell, who I know got hot there a little bit towards the end, or Torian Prince, who went 4 of 4 from the 3 point line. But every time it felt like, okay, this is going to get ugly, the Lakers just hung around and they made it a game. And I think that's all you can ask for when you're playing a Minnesota Timberwolves team that's healthy, that's 21-6 on the season, that's 11-1 at home coming into this game. Now, obviously, 12-1. I think that's all you can ask for. I don't think this was. If you'd have told me before the game started, are the Lakers going to lose this game by double digits? I would have just, yeah, of course they are. I'd have just assumed, yes. The Lakers are 100% going to lose this game by double digits, and they did not. I never really felt like the Minnesota Timberwolves, that the game was coming unglued, that they were losing grip of the game. But like I said, the Lakers made it interesting for 4 quarters. And honestly, without LeBron James and with the way that they've been playing, I think that's all you can really ask for. And that doesn't mean that they don't have issues. It doesn't mean that it's not frustrating over these last couple of weeks seeing the Lakers play. That doesn't mean that they don't need to get their act together. It just means that losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road without LeBron is a lot more respectable than losing to the Chicago Bulls or the New York Knicks at home when you have your guys, or the Dallas Mavericks when they don't have Kyrie and some of the other role players. That this game is much more understandable, where I don't know if those other games were nearly as understandable. So 118 to 111, the final score. A couple players that I mentioned. Rui 7 to 12, 18 points, played 34 minutes. I was on the radio this morning, and I did this actually. I did this last night. I did this last night actually. I was calling out D'Lo and Rui after the Bulls game, and I was talking about where's Rui. All this chatter and talk about some of these players in the Lakers' depth. Where's Rui? And I know he's in and out of the lineup, and I know that mask is bothering him, and I know that sometimes you can question how many minutes he's getting from Darvin Ham, and I would question that you gotta play him more than what he's getting. Um, he had some flashes tonight. Now we got to see that with Bron in there, and I'm not telling you that he has to average 18 points a game, but they need his presence and his effectiveness and his scoring punch off the bench. It can't just be Austin Reaves getting you 20 points and then a couple of other guys with a couple of buckets off the bench, and that's it. For example, tonight is a great example. Now, I know the way that would typically work is LeBron would be in the starting lineup, Rui would be coming off the bench, but another example tonight, Austin Reaves gives you 20. There's only 3 other bench points from the Lakers. Jackson Hayes had 3. Christian Wood only played 4 minutes. We know that he's having trouble just getting on the court. 4 minutes, by the way, he was minus 12. How does that happen? Vando rarely ever looks at the basket. He was 0 for 3 from the field. And, he certainly is not a scoring punch. So that's why Rui becomes so important for the Lakers. They need his presence off the bench. It's critical to have him off the bench. So I hope that whatever he was able to do tonight and gain a little bit of confidence, that's something that we could see carries over to the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics and so forth. But I'm not going to hold my breath and think it's going to happen, because it hasn't really happened on a consistent basis so far this year. But tonight, 34 minutes, 7 to 12. D'Angelo, listen, I like that D'Lo was aggressive tonight. 17 points, took him 19 shots to get there. Obviously a bad shooting night for him. Got lucky that he hit a couple of shots there towards the end, a couple of threes to make it semi-interesting. Again, not that the Lakers were going to win the game, but what he cut it down to 7, something along those lines. With that being said, I need to see an aggressive D'Angelo Russell. I think we all do. I was having a conversation with Michael Thompson in the pregame show. It was more of an argument. And I'm telling Michael, I said, he's got to be more aggressive. And he's like, well, then if he starts taking 15 or 17 shots, then you're going to start complaining, or Laker fans are going to start complaining that he's taking too many shots. And the argument that I was trying to make to Michael was, I don't think anybody on the team is going to complain if D'Angelo Russell's taking shots. D'Lo is a pass-first player anyways. I don't think he's a selfish basketball player. What I'm trying to ask D'Angelo Russell to do or to be, take things a little bit more personal. Be a little bit more aggressive when those opportunities are there. I'm not saying jack up fadeaway 22-footers. I'm saying when there's times where you feel like, hey, it's better for the team when I'm more aggressive. I'm going to be more aggressive. Take advantage of those opportunities. And sometimes it's just a feel for the game. Sometimes maybe you are forcing it, and then you realize, okay, I got to scale it back a little bit. Whatever the case is, if D'Lo and Rui are performing the way they have this season, I don't know if the Lakers can accomplish. Actually, I do know the Lakers can't accomplish the goals that they have in mind, because how are you supposed to be a team that, okay, I know what Bron's going to do. I know what AD is going to do. Reaves going to give me 20 off the bench, and then not really have much consistency after that. That's going to be a big-time challenge, and I think for the Lakers right now, they got to get more consistency from some of these players. Are the Minnesota Timberwolves the real deal? 21-6, 12-1 at home, as I mentioned. Best record in the Western Conference. I'm looking right now in the standings. OKC beat the Clippers tonight, so they snapped that 9-game winning streak for the Clippers. OKC is 18-8. Minnesota's 21-6. I'll tell you why Minnesota is going to stay in the mix here, and why they got an opportunity to do some damage in the playoffs eventually and do some damage here in the regular season. They play defense. They are by far the number one defensive team in the NBA. So we're going to get a chance to see Minnesota again, and I think that's another road game before this year is all said and done. But the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves have about 6 guys that score in double figures. They got Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. They got Rudy Gobert as one of the best defensive players in the NBA, if not the best defensive player. And as a team, they play defense. I think a lot of Laker fans forget about this. You guys remember last year, Lakers were in the play-in tournament, and they had Minnesota in the first round. Or in that first game. It was number 7 versus number 8. And a lot of Laker fans, you might forget about this, but I'll help remind you. The Minnesota Timberwolves took the Lakers into overtime in that game. Minnesota could have very easily won that game. Oh, by the way, Rudy Gobert didn't play in that game. Naz Reid didn't play in that game. And Jaden McDaniels did not play in that game. So you're talking about 2 starters who, just to give you an example, Jaden McDaniels tonight, 14 points for them, 5 of 8 from the field. Rudy Gobert tonight, 16 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks for them. And then Naz Reid, who predominantly comes off the bench for them, 9 points, 5 rebounds, actually did not even play all that well, but he's a lot better player than he showed tonight in his 21 minutes of play. They didn't have any of those guys in the playing game against the Lakers, and they still took them to overtime. So Minnesota might be turning a corner. I think there's a good chance that they're here to stay. And if they are here to stay, it's because, again, they play defense. Number 1 defense in the NBA. It's not even close. So you got a team that's able to do that. You're definitely going to stick around for the most part. And we'll see. Still a lot of basketball left, but I think they're playing some good basketball up to this point. Okay, so 118 to 111. Timberwolves over the Lakers. LeBron did not play. I want to read the quote here. There was a quote from earlier. I'm going to find out who it was here. Was it Trudell that sent the quote? I know it was Darvin Ham that talked. Let me see. Let me find that quote real quick. He's talking about LeBron not playing in the game. All right, I'm going to have to find it. I'll find it here. Basically, he was talking about why LeBron James is not playing in this game. And I think to simplify things, the best way that I can put it, I don't think it's a surprise that he's not playing. This might be the strategy for the Lakers all season long is, hey, when we have these back-to-back games, I just can't be a part of it. And I understand if that's how he feels. And I guess we just got to get used to it, right? This has got to be something I think that we all get used to. Here's a quote. Darvin Ham said LeBron James' left ankle tendonitis is from 21 years of frequent flyer miles. We just got to all be real when it comes to LeBron. There's going to be games where he just can't go. But I think it's encouraging when he doesn't play and the Lakers still play well, they play good enough to beat a good team. That's very, very, very encouraging. I want to see that. Everybody wants to see that. This is going to be something that is critical for the Lakers because number one, there's going to be life after LeBron James, and number two, you want to save LeBron for once you get to the postseason. So you don't want to be using him the way you're using him now, and then all of a sudden you're out of gas by the time you get to the playoffs. So you definitely don't want to see that happen. I want to make another quick mention here. Austin Reaves, coming off the bench for the Lakers, has been pretty damn consistent here over a stretch. Over his last 5 games, look at the consistency here from Austin Reaves. Game against the San Antonio Spurs, 15 points, 8 assists. Game against the San Antonio Spurs, 22 points, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds. Game against the New York Knicks, 20 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds. Game against the Chicago Bulls, 21 points, 3 assists. And then the game against the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight, 20 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. He had a quote talking about how he doesn't care about anything other than winning. All the guy wants to do is win. I appreciate that. I respect it. But the guy has been incredibly consistent off the bench. Now we just need more people to contribute with him. And that's a reality. You need more people making it happen on a night in, night out basis. And he's been efficient too. He's playing about 27, 28 minutes a game. And I think there's, obviously a lot of positives you could take out of Austin Reeves' game. But we need more players doing it on a consistent basis. And I think that's going to be key moving forward. Okay, next game for the Lakers, just a quick reminder here. It's coming up on Saturday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to read a tweet here from Jovan Buha, who put this up on Twitter, on X. Anthony Davis said the Lakers are treating Saturday's game in OKC as a must win. All right, that's a little bit aggressive right there. A must win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, let me tell you a little bit about the Thunder. 18-8. They've won 7 of 10. They beat the Clippers tonight, who had won 9 games in a row, and it wasn't really a close game either. 134-115. And by the way, I'm going to double check here who was in the lineup, who wasn't. Looks like Paul George played. Kawhi did not. James Harden played. Russ played. So no Kawhi Leonard in this game. So keep that one in mind. But this is what the Oklahoma City Thunder do. Shai Gilgeous, 31. Chet Holmgren, 28. Dort had 21. Jalen Williams had 13, I think it is. Yeah, 13. They got guys that can score. They're an impressive team. They're 10-4 now at home. They are still one of the younger rosters in the NBA, and they got some real ballers. I want to count how many. 6 guys. You call it 5. Isaiah Joe, 9.7. Almost 6 guys that average in double figures. Shai Gilgeous is obviously the head of the snake, averaging 30, 6 assists, and 5.7 rebounds. Chet Holmgren, a nice player as well. We got to see him when they played the Lakers. Last time they played the Lakers, 133-110. The Oklahoma City Thunder ran through the Lakers. Now, LeBron, Anthony Davis, you had D'Lo, you had Taurean Prince. So you had a lot of those main guys. I know some of those guys, some of the other Lakers didn't play, but Austin Reaves at this time, Vandal wasn't back yet. So the Lakers are healthier than they've been in the past, but I don't think Cam Reddish played in that game as well. He did not. So Lakers were missing some players, but I don't think anybody was saying, "Oh, well, the Oklahoma City Thunder got lucky." Yeah, that definitely didn't happen. So it's going to continue to be a challenge for the Lakers, and their next couple of games, you still got, like I mentioned, you still got the Thunder and the Boston Celtics. Then they'll get a couple of nights off. Then they'll have Charlotte at home, and you're back on the road at Minnesota, at New Orleans. So some really, really tough games coming up for the Lakers. And this final stretch at the end of the month, the only game that you would call a layup is the Charlotte game. And the way the Lakers are playing right now, you really can't say that there's any layups on this roster, or I'm sorry, on the schedule. And then even when you start looking in January, they got a lot of home games, but it's Miami, it's Memphis now with Ja Morant, it's the Clippers, Phoenix is in that mix. So it's not going to get any easier. OKC, Dallas. So there's going to be a lot of playoff teams that are waiting for the Lakers, whether it's on the road or at crypto.com arena. Okay, Laker fans, just wanted to make sure I got one of these up. Like I said, I wasn't able to go live today, was not able to do some video today, but at least I can get kind of a podcast form for you guys out there so you guys can take a listen to. Final score tonight, Lakers lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you guys don't mind supporting the partner of the channel, Underdog Fantasy, thank you for their partnership. And if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, I would appreciate it as well. Live post-game show coming up on Saturday after the Lakers take on the Thunder. Appreciate it, Laker fans. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night.